All right, good. Are we on? Good morning. How is everyone this morning? Hold on, I'm just gonna do that. I should have the opportunity. Well, so for those of you who may be watching online, you've caught us in the middle of a conversation. We are live, and and we're going to begin. I will be happy to discuss whatever you're dissenting around after we have completed our time here today. But I would love to introduce our beautiful, we're starting. See, the problem is the clock that we look at back there is a little slow, and I always change it every couple weeks, but then it slows down. So maybe. It's been up there for a year. But I would like to introduce Christy Andrews, who's going to play an original piece to start us off today. So please welcome Christy Andrews. Christy, that was beautiful. I'm really loving starting that way. Christy played some of her pieces for me. Well, it's actually several weeks ago. And as I was rethinking how this experience at 9 a.m. starts off, it just felt really lovely to start with that. Instead of me coming out here and singing a big old jazzy tune, it just feels better. So good morning and welcome to Tucson New Thought. Welcome to our 9 o'clock gathering. We are here gathering every single Sunday as a spiritual community to understand and know one thing and one thing only, and that is right where we are, love is. Right where we are, God is. Right where we are, infinite spirit is. It doesn't matter what we call it, because it is beyond words, but it is who and what each and every one of us is and are. So that is what we are here to celebrate, and I love that opportunity to celebrate every single Sunday. Don't you? You know, so in those late night shows like David Letterman, you could be my Paul Schaefer.
Okay, I'll Paul.
Or you could be my Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, depending on your generation. That's all my generation. We envision here a world that works for everyone. That is what we stand for at Tucson New Thought, and we accomplish this through our mission, which is to provide practical tools for personal transformation and awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And connection is our purpose for being here, not just here at Tucson New Thought, but here in this world. We're here to connect, to understand and know that we are all one. And what I know about each and every one of you is written on the wall behind me. You are magnificent. And I know that about you because it is an inherent truth within each and every one of us. So I would love for us all to exclaim for ourselves, I am magnificent. I am magnificent. And just take a moment to look around and look at the other faces of the people in the room and recognize the magnificence that exists. Yeah. If you would start I'm going to ask Christy to help me In this next ritual that we do every week called Lighting the Flames of Faith. Lighting the Flames of Faith is a ritual, it's a ceremonial understanding and expression of understanding that all faith traditions, all spiritual paths, all religious ideologies are rooted in that core of love, and that each and every one of them is expressing as love. And so we're going to celebrate that with each candle that we light. So we light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. And this final candle we light is a candle to represent the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. For that is the true nature of healing, the revelation of divinity. So this candle is your candle for whatever is in your mind and in your heart that requires the light. Thank you. The candle to your left is our peace candle, and we keep it consistently illuminated with the understanding that as it is consistently illuminated, we are recognizing the consistent illumination of peace in our hearts, and we celebrate that. And we shine that light all over this world. We utilize the modified words of the Prayer for Protection by James Dillett Freeman. So if you would say this with me. Truly, the light of peace surrounds us, the love of peace enfolds us, the power of peace protects us, and the presence of peace watches over us. Wherever we are, peace is. Wherever we are, peace is. And so let's take some time to settle into peace right here and right now. I invite you to relax right where you are, and we'll utilize this month's affirmation as a focal point for centering. The affirmation this month is, I am a magnificent blank page of infinite possibility. If it's comfortable and you'd like to close your eyes, I will read that once again. Just allow it to wash over you. I am a magnificent blank page of infinite possibility. And now I invite you to simply allow yourself to settle into a focus on the breath, the easeful flow of the inhale and the exhale, deepening into a recognition that there's nothing we need to do to make it happen. It is a natural process. It just happens. It happens perfectly, easefully, and effortlessly. And if at any time you find your mind drifting away, we can always return our focus to the breath, to center us, to focus us, to deepen into that affirmation. I am a magnificent blank page of infinite possibility. I am a magnificent blank page of infinite possibility. As I in this moment recognize what is possible, I know that peace is possible. I know that joy is possible. I know that love is possible. And so with each breath I breathe in, I recognize that I am breathing in love. And I invite us all into that same recognition. And every exhale is a release of love. And so we live in an infinite circulation of love. Love in, love out. We share the love as it fills this room, extends beyond these walls, inhabits this entire city. It makes itself known throughout the entire world and beyond, into the far reaches of the universe. And this love is centered at the core of each and every one of us. I relax more deeply into this notion right here and right now. And with gratitude, I trust in its perfect unfoldment. I let it be so. Perfectly, easefully, and gently. I know that it is backed by a power, but does not necessitate force. Gently now, I invite you to repeat using your inner voice. I am here. I am fully present. I am open to a positive, inspiring experience for myself and everyone whom I encounter.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a sense of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
How are you feeling? I feel luxurious. Last week, I mentioned that as we have settled into this first month, this month of January, being the month where our theme is back to basics. It's there. I was thinking, did I put it in the graphic? It is there, back to basics. That for the random reading and reflection, I would offer up only the limit, or is the reverb is still on. Yeah. It's so funny because I hear it, I'm going, yeah. I would offer up only the first 60 pages, so as options for the random reading today, because that would get us back to basics. So if you would please provide for me a number between 25 and 60. 43. One of these days I'm going to open it up and it's going to be a blank page. Blank pages do exist in this book. 1, 2, 3. There are 4 paragraphs on this page. Which one shall I utilize? The third paragraph reads like this. It's under the heading, The Scientific Method. All right, so before I read it, I am a trained religious science minister. The philosophy is called The Science of Mind. The book is called The Science of Mind, and there are many people who would say, but this isn't a science. So let's just get that out of the way first and foremost. The way I understand it is that for me, I use it as a science. I use it as the basis for a science of allowing the world to be my laboratory, and I live in the infinite experiment of life. That's how I understand this as a science. So is it a legitimate science? No, but I utilize the concept of science in my approach. He writes this, Ernest Holmes, if we observe any scientific discovery, we shall see that this is the way it works. Some man's mind discovers the law or principle governing the science. This is the way of love, of personal volition, of choice. This is the spontaneous element in the universe. Following this knowledge of the way the principle works, having discovered the operation of the law, the spontaneous element now rests its case upon immutable reactions inherent in law. All science is based upon proven principles. So this goes essentially to what I'm saying. We teach a divine principle within this philosophy. The divine principle stated is this. We are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by our use of the spiritual law of cause and effect. That's the principle that we operate from. That is the consciousness that I have chosen to experience and express in my life. I consistently remind myself, I am a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe governed by my use of a spiritual law of cause and effect, right? So that is what we call the divine principle. And all science is rooted in immutable principles. Ish. Ish. Because there are those things in science even which are ineffable, which are not understandable. Scientists are constantly looking for the answers to those things which are unexplainable, right? And isn't that what we're doing here? We're looking for the answer to those things which are unexplainable. And I choose to explore that answer with that consciousness in mind of the divine principle. I know who I am. I know who I am. I am part of the infinite nature of the universe. There is nothing separate. We are all connected. I am as connected to Christy as I am to the star Betelgeuse, which is on my mind a lot lately because they're talking about it going supernova. They say it may not happen for another 100,000 years, but if it happens in our lifetime, it's supposed to be pretty spectacular. But I am just as connected to that expression of this divine energy as I am to anything, to each and every one of you. Because I know I am a spiritual being. This is a spiritual universe. And I am governed by this law. And I know that the cause to every effect in my life is my mind, is my belief system, is the way I feel, and the coordination of beliefs, thoughts, and feelings. I always like to say, my beliefs plus my thoughts raised to the power of my feeling equals the quality of my life. It's my little formula. My beliefs plus my thoughts raised to the power of my feeling. Because for me, the feeling is what exponentially increases the experience of life through my thoughts and my beliefs. How I feel about my beliefs, how I feel about my thoughts, and the coordination of my thoughts and my beliefs. How I feel about those things is what is demonstrating in the experience of life. And so, I can have thoughts and beliefs of, I think that I am that which is. But if my feeling is, oh, what a burden to have that, well, the quality of my life is going to reflect the feeling, right? And so I always say, I think it's actually much more important that we root ourselves in more deeply understanding our feeling. More deeply understanding our feeling, because it all works back and forth. Thoughts and beliefs and feelings all work together to create. Oh, yeah. And so, if we observe any scientific discovery, we shall see that this is the way it works. That's the way it works. That's it. And that's all we teach. That's it. That's the whole philosophy. That's why I say, we look at only the first 60 pages to go back to basics, because if we truly embody what is written in those first 60 pages, then we don't need to worry about the other 700 pages. It's a long book. And there's a lot of infinitely magnificent wisdom. But you kind of discover, if you read the book cover to cover, you kind of discover he starts to repeat himself a lot. He's finding new ways of constructing the understanding in using different language so that, he may, like what works here will work great for one person that didn't work so great for this other person, but he's saying the same thing. So this very last sentence that he writes, all science is based upon proven principles. I think the challenge we have is to prove the divine principle. Because here's the thing, we can embody that as a belief, but how do we prove it? How do we prove the divine principle? How do we say, this is absolutely the way that it works? How do we do that? I already actually gave you the answer for each and every one of us in our own lives. Experiment. See what happens as you address those things that come up, as you address the thoughts and beliefs, and you address your feelings. See what happens to the outflow of your life. See what happens. The issue is, so many of us are not willing to take that step into seeing what happens. And so many of us are not willing to take the step of taking responsibility for our experience of life. I always tell people in class, and I'm teaching class, I'm so excited. I always tell people in class, at some point, usually in the first 8 weeks of Spirituality 101, Spiritual Foundations, or New Thought 101, Science Mind 101, whatever you want to call the class. We give it different names so that people don't always realize, oh, I'm taking the same class over again. But again, every single class you ever take is the same class over and over again, even if it's a different curriculum, because we only teach two things. God is all there is, that's who and what we are, that's the first thing, and the universe works in the law of cause and effect, that's number 2. So we're going to spend 8 weeks talking about that, right? Where was I going with this? Oh, I know where I was going with this. So one of the things that I often will bring up in class is to say, our job is to begin to truly recognize what is happening below the level of our awareness. Because 100% of our thoughts create. 100% of our thoughts are creative. We are aware of about 10% of those thoughts. 90% of the thoughts are below the level of awareness, but they are still creative in our lives. So the work of this philosophy is to See what the effect is. We start with the effect, actually, almost always, to say, if I want to know what's happening in my mind, let's look at my life. I have friends in my life. I have actually a family member who I choose not to associate with that much because everything is just a downer. Every word that comes out of this person's mouth is just a downer, and I don't want to be around that. I choose not to be around that. That's one way that I can effectively utilize my mind to know what I will and will not accept in my experience and make decisions accordingly. Some people have a hard time with that. They'll say, but it's a family member. I'll say, just because we share genetic code does not mean that that person belongs in my life. So there's this family member that I have, nobody watching online. Just to be really clear. There's a family member that I have, well, maybe. I don't know. There's this family member that I have, constantly depressed, constantly, oh, woe is me, constantly, why does my life continue to unfold in this particular way? And if I were to say, here's the mirror to look at, your mind is the point at which your life begins. The expression of your life is rooted in your mind. And I can guarantee, in my experience, I can see it. You know, the thing is, we can all see it so easily in other people. Part of it is too. If I'm holding the mirror up there, let's turn that mirror around, because I should be looking in the mirror myself, and that's the work I've committed to. But if we are willing to do the work of looking in the mirror, and this particular family member, not so committed to the work. Blessings, I pray for your highest and furthest. If I'm willing to look in the mirror and say, I see reflected here the perfection of the divine, any place where I see that I am acting or expressing in a way that is destructive to my own experience of life, that is something to be addressed. If I want to know what's happening in my mind, I look at my experience. I look at my experience. And I have been in destructive modes of behavior in my life, that as I have come to more deeply understand the function of my mind, I recognize now that 100% of the responsibility for that falls on me. Now, I am not talking about blame. I am saying responsibility is the understanding of knowing how I respond ably in this moment to move forward, because whatever has happened in the past is no longer necessary to my experience in this present moment moving forward. But I also, so many of us love to drag that past along with us. Don't need to do it. I have a responsibility, my ability to respond, to say, I know who I am, and I move forward accordingly. So we can logically utilize this philosophy for good as our lives. That's how it can be a scientific approach. To say, first thing that happens in science, we observe. We observe something, right? We observe something and say, can I recreate that? Or if I want to recreate it, can I recreate that? And so we go into that place of experiment of understanding what are the things that we have to address to be able to recreate the experience. So everything is rooted in that principle, the divine principle. We are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by our use of that spiritual law, the law of cause and effect. And that, I think, is my message today. And I appreciate and love each and every one of you. Thank you. Namaste. So let's root ourselves in this moment. With this very deep understanding. I invite you to take what it is. There may be one kernel that you've heard here today that you carry with you. I invite you to take that into your heart right now.
God is right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am. Right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. And so right in this moment, I recognize and know that there is an infinite power and presence. There is only love. There is only light. There is only life. There is nothing else. There is God and nothing else. We are this greatness on demand, each and every one of us. We are the infinite expressed as ourselves right here and right now. As Rumi says, we are the entire ocean in a drop. And so I know that the power of this divinity at our core is accessible and expressing beautifully, magnificently in the here and now. And I lay claim to this understanding that we are, right in this moment and in every moment, letting this power unfold in constructive ways, in ways that are forward-moving, in ways that are evolutionary, for this is the way it works. I allow myself to maintain the deepest understanding of this power as me. And I do so with a grateful heart. I trust and know and live in deep gratitude, letting that feeling of gratitude well up through me and exponentially address the thoughts and beliefs to create that quality of life, a quality of life rooted in and expressing as gratitude. And so gratitude being the perfect fuel in that creative engine, I simply let it flow forth. And trusting this, knowing this, allowing this, I simply let it be. I release this word and know it to be so, as together we say, and so it is. God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am.
Hi, Marvis. Yeah. I love that. Well, we are a community. Tucson New Thought is a community that is supported entirely through your generosity. At this point, well, until we start teaching classes, 100% of our revenue stream is donations, 100%. And I am so grateful for everything that you bring to this community, all the blessings that you share. So I'm going to invite you to take out whatever it is you're offering the center today, hold it in your hand and recognize it for what it is. It is the energy of love in form. It is the energy of love in form, and it moves through this time and this place to do great work, to do constructive work, to do evolutionary work. It supports Tucson New Thought in its vision and its mission, and I am so, so deeply grateful, so deeply grateful. Let's read together the Divine Givingness Statement with this understanding in mind. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that spirit is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. I just want to remind you that my spiritual center is not just this physical location. We're giving to our own spiritual center as well. Let's sing our giving song. We've added a giving song this month.
I am so blessed. I'm going to sing in a different key, apparently. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. There we go. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful, grateful, grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful, 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 grateful. I am so blessed. We probably should have worked on that before.
It's all good. It's all good. Here we go.
Good morning, everyone. Here are your Tucson New Thought announcements for January 12, 2020. Join us this Wednesday for our monthly Taizé experience. A Taizé-style gathering mixes music, poetry, and quiet meditation to allow us to deepen into our sense of self and our sense of connection to the whole. Join us Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Coming up on January 17th at 6:30 p.m. is another spiritual cinema night. We will be screening the movie What is New Thought and hosting a discussion following. It is certain to spark your imagination and deepen your understanding of the philosophy. Mark your calendars for our next class. Spiritual Foundations, also known as New Thought 101, begins Wednesday, January 22nd at 7 o'clock p.m. This 8-week course will answer all of your questions about New Thought and science of mind, starting with the thing itself. You'll learn how to use it. Sign up now at the information table. Our annual community meeting is coming up following our 10:30 a.m. gathering on January 26th. Join us to learn about the business of spirit, expressed as Tucson New Thought. Elect members to Open Leadership Council terms, see where we have come from and where we are headed as a spiritual community. If you think you might be interested in running for an Open Leadership Council position, please speak with Reverend Jonathan or one of the current members of the Leadership Council. To be able to vote on issues at the annual community meeting, you will need to be a registered member of Tucson New Thought. If Tucson New Thought is the right spiritual home for you at this point of your experience, we invite you to consider membership. Simply fill out a membership form and give it to Reverend Jonathan or one of the members of the Leadership Council. As we prepare to deliver your giving statements for 2019, we would like to ensure that we have your correct information on file. If you made an identifiable contribution in 2019, but didn't provide more than your name, please let us know and provide us with your address and email so we can properly deliver your statement. For more information, check out our website at TucsonNewThought.org and connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Tucson New Thought. Thank you for being here and sharing your magnificence with us.
Yeah, Darwin. Darwin is the new voice of our announcements. I'm grateful for him. Would you bring the lights back up, please, Aiden? And a couple of things that I just wanted to quickly say. Going back to basics in January, it felt like screening the movie What is New Thought was a perfect choice for that. Regarding the question of whether or not we have your correct information on hand, if you've registered as a member already, we have your correct information, so that's fine. And if you would like us to check, just let me know. We're not putting out a book that has everybody's information as we have it, just for people to peruse. We want to keep some things private. But if you are not sure, just let me know and we'll look it up for you. So there we are. Oh, well, I just want to live in gratitude, first of all, for what has been collected here, with the deepest recognition and understanding that this is an expression of love and power, and it is moving through this time and this place as the divine, infinite, creative spirit that it is. And it moves through this time and this place to do great work as Tucson New Thought. And I know that these funds are utilized by the Leadership Council with the highest integrity and for the greatest purpose, spiritual evolution. So I live in deep gratitude for this, and I simply allow this to be so, as together we say, and so it is. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Aiden, our tech guy behind the curtain. He likes to have the curtain. He doesn't want people to look at him. Yes, so thank you, Aiden. He is very handsome. My handsome nephew over there. I want to say thank you to Marvis, our greeter this morning, for being here and greeting everybody with a beautiful smiling face. And I want to say thank you to Christy for your magnificent music and for your service here. I am so blessed to have you in my life. Thank you. And I want to say thank you for being here, being present, and allowing your light to shine. Thank you. Oh, thank you. So I've decided, because it's a lot of these decisions are what I decide, I feel like, in every month. I've decided that I would like to end the gatherings, the 9 a.m. gatherings in January, with this Kundalini blessing.
May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way Make it a great week, everyone. Namaste.